So, talking about automation, what kind of data are we talking about?
People say it's humongous data, but it is really humongous. So it could be, so our technology ability is not the issue. Issue is how fast can we develop the infrastructure.
Welcome to the another episode of Prune Unfiltered. I'm your host Harsh, and today I'm back with the big boss of Prune, Mr. Vivek Malhotra. How, sir?
Hello.
Sir, I'm very excited. Last time I got to learn so much about connectivity. Today I want to dive in a little bit more and just understand what is the relationship between automobiles and connectivity. Let's just start with the first question. What has connectivity to do with automobiles, or what has 5G got to do with traveling?
Great question. I think uh, I also I'm liking coming back here, but this is a topic, uh, which has which has deep meaning, but I feel I'm not very equipped to answer, but I will still try to answer this specific question. So see, I think the autonomous cars is a amalgamation of many technologies, right? So there is, let's say, sensor technologies. There are radars in it. There is computing in it. There is security in it. Because I mean, you have to secure the cars, etc. So in terms of making all this possible, connectivity plays a very big role. It's the heart of enabling all this together. So while one may say that it is only the pipe which is connecting with the hardware with the, let's say, the cloud computing bit, but that's the most important thing. I mean, it's like somebody pumping blood into the body. One may call it just that bit is what the heart does, but that kind of ensures that the vehicle is alive and is kicking, and moving. So connectivity, I think all this has been made possible because there is tremendous growth in technology, especially the movement of generations in technology from 3G to 4G, and now of course what's making it possible is the 5G. So I think uh, short answer to this question is that, yeah, 5G is the heart of uh, what is enabling the autonomous cars to be in uh, to come live.
So, talking about automation, what kind of data are we talking about?
So it's when you hear this, people say it's humongous data, but it is really humongous. So it could be almost about, let's say, about 1.9 TB per hour to 19 TB per hour, which means it could mean 5100 to 6000 TB of data being transmitted in a month. So when we consume data, we have a you know 50 GB plan and a 60 GB plan. When a cars come into play, you're talking of some in TBs. The data which is going to be transmitted could be easily, between 5100 to about 5500 TB data, which is required. So if you deciding to own a car, you need to have a bandwidth which will kind of transmit data to the extent of about 6000 TB a month.
6,000 TB, damn. Okay, let's then have a segue from automation to autonomous cars to self-driving cars. When can we have self-driving cars in India? Like, I'm very curious. I'm sure the audience must be curious too.
Yeah, I think that's a question which all of us trying to figure out. But I think before we delve into that question, I think we need to see what automation means from a automobile perspective. Generally, what is the accepted norm is that the automation is graded from 0 to 5. So when 0 is essentially no automation, right? So that is called, maybe most cars today which we drive are zero automation cars. When it is one, one of the features or capability gets automated. Let's say, for example, cruise control will get adaptive cruise control will come into play, which will mean that you will be able to, the car is able to control the distance between the two cars and the speed at which it is traveling. Uh, so that is, maybe one. And two is when you bring in another feature, let's say, maybe cruise control and with lane driving. If it comes in, two things are getting automated, is when, you can call a two level of automation, but which means that anything outside of that, there is a human intervention will always be required. So on level 3, what happens is that the car is able to take most of the task within it is controlled, right? Um, but at some stage, it is the human is expected to intervene if things go outside of those areas, right? And then level 4 is that, absolute, you will require lower level of human intervention, but it does not mean that the driver intervention will not be required. The human intervention will not be required. Level 5 is when there is absolutely no intervention is required. Human intervention is required. But there is no car today in the level 5 thing. All cars, commercial cars, are between 3 and 4. I would say rather 2.5 and 3. 4 is where most of them lie. But eventually, I mean, achieving that in India today, let's say, the problem of being able to do even level 1 intervention is because we don't have very clearly marked demarcations on the road. I mean, clearly markings on the roads are not very clear, right? And there is not absolutely complete data on the digital maps, right? So these two are the clear challenges. I mean, people will talk about, of course, driving behavior and etc. I think that to an extent is possible to manage in a controlled environment. Let's say a campus at some place where this will be required. This is possible. But eventually, I think what we will have to develop is the infrastructure for autonomous cars to come in. A lot of these international companies which are developing cars, they get a lot of software support from companies based out of India. So our technology ability is not the issue. Issue is how fast can we develop the infrastructure around the cars to be able to understand these things. So what happens is that when you have a car, or autonomous cars, there are radars, there are sensors who constantly send out data. Now they have to evaluate and take a decision based on, I mean, the computing power needs to take the decision based on inputs which they're getting. If the inputs are not very clear and well marked, I mean, that's the real challenge why, where we are in terms of autonomous cars to an extent. And I think, there is understanding within the government that this is a clear bottleneck at this point of time, and I think work is happening around this area, and that's why we see, even if you see, so many cameras getting installed, at least in the large cities. I think it's a step in the right direction, and this will follow with more responsible driving. I think that is something which we will have to ensure, and once that happens, I think we should be able to take next steps on this front.
I think I totally agree with you. Before adopting the technology, we should focus on the infrastructures that we have in India. So let's say if we have the infrastructure, let's say we have the infrastructure, and we know that Tesla is about to like arrive in India. There are talks. Is Tesla our only option?
No, I think, well, of course, Tesla is more famous, but if you talk about which is the largest company, I think the company which has almost 40% of market share of electric cars is BYD, and they are already in India. And I think, but of course, being a Chinese company, there are challenges, or other limitations they have, and I think they are actively looking for Indian partner to come in and play a crucial role. Uh, and so I think beyond Tesla, in fact, if you really ask, as old as Tesla was this Bangalore-based company. Uh, uh, it was called Renew, I think. No, sorry, Reva. Yeah, the call was called Reva, and that was and I think they are what, some 12, 15 years ago. So I mean, as old as Tesla was, but I think the infrastructure was not ready, and everywhere, the the person who kind of innovates and brings in, they not necessarily they are the one who get the benefit of the when the market evolves. So that's how they kind of moved into. I mean they took shelter under Mahindra Automobiles, and that's where they are currently. So I think from a point of view of our readiness, I think it's not the technological capability uh, is an issue, and so of course when we're talking of this, we're not talking of autonomous cars, we're talking of electric cars, per se. So there are many options. I think there are a lot of startups which are coming, which are trying to develop. I think the debate which is happening today is that the government support is essentially for electric cars, but some of the biggest players, let's say Maruti or Toyota, they have put their monies on hybrid cars, right? So I think we should see, and I feel that as a natural progression, hybrid cars make better sense than absolute electric cars, and I think it's just that the government once gives the you know uh, equal benefit to these car makers. I think we will have a scenario where at least the electric in the form of hybrid will definitely play out.
Cool. Okay, so we understood about India. Let's talk globally. Uh, what are the applications that are being used connectivity wise in automation, automobile industry, or like in vehicles that are not being used in India right now? Like where there is infrastructure, there is government plans, everything. So, what are the things that are being used right now?
So see, I think uh, from a connectivity and automation perspective, there is a lot of collaboration which happens, which makes the success possible. So there is innovation from the companies end, and there is a regulatory framework. Uh, so I think firstly in India, our regulatory framework has to be well defined, and I think that needs to go in, because once that is in place, a lot of other things can start following, or at least the right things can be taken up. The other the other aspect from an innovation perspective, I think what is happening internationally is also the use of AR and VR technology from within the car entertainment, and also from a navigation point of view. I think that is also a a key very important thing. Another use of technology is the edge computing. So what is happening in edge essentially means that the cloud is not stored at some distant server, but the computing happens at the connectivity at the tower, let's say 5G tower level itself. The storage happens there only, so that the data doesn't have to transfer even if a nanosecond is lost in this thing. So so this brings to the point is that edge computing also needs to kind of grow, uh, and that enablement has to happen at the telcos level. So and of course not only them, but I mean there is going to be an ecosystem where the cloud computing companies and the telcos come together, and the edge comes closer to where the connectivity gets delivered. So that's where those are some things which come to my mind, and I think there are quite a few others as well. But I think those are two key important things which can play a interesting role from a consumer standpoint.
That is actually really cool. So, so one of the last questions that I have: how is 5G gonna impact everything?
So I think uh, I think we spoke about it in last episode also. So I think there are many use cases which are kind of developing. Connected cars is definitely one of them. Then we, of course, we spoke about, we have already spoken about entertainment as well. How entertainment is getting impacted. How is live sports going to play out from a 5G perspective? Uh, I think the basic point is that the what 5G brings in is the latency reduction in latency speed, the ability to have, let's say, in a 4G scenario, you have about a lakh devices which can be connected in 1 square kilometer. When I spoke about it last time, it goes up to 1 million devices. So what it does is that it allows a lot of new innovations to kind of come in. So which means that we have to get prepared to use a lot of data, right? Today our data consumption happens only on device, and it's also increasing. But there may be a top stop where how much data can you consume on a device. That's why, let's say, television has come in. It today consumes data. I mean, all your uh, OTT channels and other channels are on this thing. So 5G has played out a big role. I mean, connectivity has played out a big role. Out of which 4G has focused more on technology from entertainment point of view, and 5G is going to be more about experience. So we will be able to experience more things in a live scenario, live like scenario at a distributed places. So that's the power 5G brings in.
So I guess I learned a lot today again. I would ask you, what are your final words uh, on this topic? Like, we have been discussing 5G for about 2 episodes now. We have discussed entertainment, we have discussed automobiles, we have discussed automation today as well. So, what is your final word for this topic?
So I think we are getting into a very exciting era, right? Where a lot of new things are developing. There is the speed of innovation is amazing, not only in technology. I think from a so there are two aspects to it. So one is as from a consuming point of view, that okay, you are going to consume this new technology, new connectivity, etc. But the point is, I think, is also about what do you do. I mean, from like from a profession point of view or from a society point of view, what can you do with so much innovation around. So I think the generation which is coming up, right, the young generation like you and all the others I work with in this organization, I think you have a very exciting life ahead. You have an economy which is probably the fastest going around the world. We have the technology capabilities. I think it is upon us to use the available resources, the technology, to develop how faster can we grow as an economy. How how can we improve the lives of our people, whether it is through medicine, telemedicine, or it is through communication, or it is through electric cars. So I mean, even electric cars, if we were to come in, we are talking of reducing some uh, 2 lakh uh, kilogram of carbon dioxide reduction, right? So if that is the kind of reduction which we can have, so we can use this technology to uh, have a play in terms of improving the environment, also the quality of environment, the air we breathe. So I think the opportunity is immense in terms of what how we can use the technology. So I think one need not just focus on how do we consume technology. I think we should apply ourselves to see how we can use this technology for the betterment of the people of the country.
That's actually a great advice. So, guys, that was our episode, and do check in our Instagram page, prune.co.in, and keep following Prune app and subscribe for more.